All right, folks, so we're going to start here with our warm-up. Okay, number 1 says, what is the product? Folks, what does product mean to do? Multiply. So I need to multiply these two things. Y'all see them? Those are monomials. They're all connected by multiplication, agreed? So if I'm going to multiply monomials, what do you do with the coefficients? You multiply them, you times them, and you get 2/5. So if I multiply those together, I get 2/5. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you do with your exponents? You add them, so it'll be a to the what? And b to the good. Do we have that choice over there somewhere? Looks good to me. Everybody okay with that first problem? Yes? I want to go over there. It says, what is the solution set? If it's a solution, what should you do with it if you've got all the answers right here? Plug it in. So grab your calculator. What do you guys want to start with? You want to start with F, G, H, or J? F, okay, here we go. So in your calculator, now this is negative, isn't it? So what do you need to put it in? Parentheses. And when you hit equals at the end, what should it equal? 0. So I ask you, does -4 work? -4 works, doesn't it? Now, do I just get to circle it and call it good? No, you also have to try 6. Type 6 in there. Does it work? No? You guys did not get 6 to work? Okay, grab your calculators. You ready? 6 squared plus 2 times 6 minus 24 equals. You got 24? Okay, so it does not work. Okay, so it doesn't work. Did -4 actually work? So that one didn't work either? No? Okay, so this one's out. Where you want to go next? G? Okay, go for it. How about we do this? How about Shane's row? You guys try G. Greg's row? Why don't you guys try H? And then you three over here, why don't you do J? We can speed up the process a little bit. Peyton says no. Shane and James, you guys also say no to letter G? Okay, so that one's out. What do the rest of you guys think here? H is out. So I hope J works. Does J work? So you see there, folks, you didn't really have to do much math. You just had to plug it in and see if it actually worked. Okay? All right, let's go down below it. It says, which is the solution set of x is, what is this symbol right here? Greater than or equal to -2. So where is it shaded greater than or equal to -2? C is a possibility, right? Which other one's a possibility? B. Now, the only difference is this circle versus this circle. One's open, one's closed. That has a bar on it, doesn't it? Which means it better be the closed one, which is letter C. Feeling pretty good? Okay, so tell me, what is your first step when factoring? GCF. Then, if there's 4 terms, what are you going to do? Group how? Okay. And if there's 3 terms, what are you going to make? A binomial times a binomial. Everybody good? Now, you should have 2 stars right here, don't you? First star. If the first term is a 1, if the first term is a 1, you need factors of the constant. If it starts with a 1, that's the easy problems, right? If the first term is not 1, you need factors of the product of the first and last terms. So basically today, I'm going to give you both types of problems. I'm going to give you some that start with a 1 and are super easy, and I'm going to give you some that don't start with a 1 that take all that work that we did yesterday. Sound like a plan? Okay, we're going to jump around a little bit, okay? I am ready when you are. Are we good to go? Okay, I'm going to start with number 1. So, in number 1, first thing you're asking yourself, is there a GCF? I don't think of any number that I can take out all 3 of those, right? Okay, so how many terms are there? Which means I know I need to make this. Does it start with a 1? It does not. So you need to multiply the first and the last terms. What do you get? You need factors of 12 that will add to 7. 4 times 3, he says. How do we feel about that? Same or different symbols here, folks. And the bigger one, and they both need to be negative. So now I'm ready to make my 4-term problem. Drop down the 2r squared. When I put this minus 4 down here, what am I going to put on it? Oh, r. And then minus 3r. And then we're going to drop down the constant, which is plus 6. Okay, now we're ready to group these. What can you take out of the first group? Good. So that means the 2r goes out front. What would be left over? Good. Now, this starts with a minus, doesn't it? So I got to start with a minus. What can I take out of both of those? A 3. Bless you. So that means I'm actually dividing by a negative 3, folks. What do you have left? Good. So do they match? Great. Which means my repeated factor is r minus 2, and my leftover factor is 2r minus 3. Everybody doing okay? Sure? Okay. Moving over to number 2. Did I leave you guys enough room today? A little bit better than yesterday. Okay, you got a GCF at number 2? How many terms you got there? 3. So I know I need to do this. Does it start with a 1? It does not. So you're going to multiply the first and last terms, which gives you? I need factors of 24 that will subtract to 10. 2 and 12 will work. Will symbols be the same or different? Different, and the bigger one will be addition. Now we're ready to write our 4-term problem. Good. I'm going to put the negative one first if that's okay. Is that all right? So that'll be a minus 2 what? Now what else has to go on there? You also got to put a y on there, right? Okay. And then what? $12. What needs to go on that? And then drop down the minus 8, and that's a y squared. Everybody following Peyton okay there? Yes? Okay, what can you divide out of the first term, or the first parentheses? An x. I don't think I can divide a 3 out of that 2, right? So we'll put that x out front. What's left, folks? Two y. Good. Everybody following? Yes? This starts with a plus, so I'm going to start with a plus. What can I divide out of these? And a y. Somebody said it. Was that you, James? Was Peyton? Okay. If you divide out a 4y, what's left? Oh, there we go. 3x minus 2y. Do they match, folks? They do. So my repeated factor is 3x minus 2y, and the leftover factor would be x plus 4y. Folks, could you have those switched? Could you have the x plus 4y first? Absolutely, you could. Absolutely, you could. You could have these two parentheses in opposite orders, but you still have to have the 3x minus 2y together. It just could come second. Okay, number 3. Do you have a GCF? I don't see one. How many terms do you have there? So I know I need to do this. Does it start with a 1? No. So you need to multiply your first and last terms, which gives you what? Factors of 24 that will add to 14. 12 and 2 again. Should my symbols be the same or different? And they both should be good. Perfect. So now we're going to make our 4-term problem. What am I dropping down here? 3t squared. What's going to come next? Good. Good. Constant, the plus 8. That's okay. They all start with C's, right? Group them up. What can you take out of the first group? Perfect. So put that 3t out front. What do you have left? Okay. Good. Now, that next parenthesis starts with a minus, so I need to start with a minus. What can you divide out of those? A 2, which means we are actually dividing by negative 2. What do you get when you divide out that negative 2? T minus 4. Do they match? Uh-huh. Looks good, right? So you have a repeated factor of t minus 4 and a leftover factor of 3t minus 2. Questions for me on that first row, folks? Everybody's A-okay? You sure? All right. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being super confident. How confident are you? Okay, pretty good? Okay. Let's go to the back then, okay? Number 7. Do you have a GCF? Yes. What can you divide out of all of those terms? A negative 2, and what else? To the, yeah, they all have an x to the second, right? So I'm going to put that negative 2x to the second out front. What would you have left? x squared because the negative 2's cancel, right? And then I subtract my powers. And then plus 6, William's telling me. And then an x on that. And then what? 9. And those x squareds cancel. Okay, I like this problem. Because now look at what's in the parentheses. How many terms? 3. So I'm going to drop down my negative 2x squared, and I'm going to make my two binomials. And what's in the parentheses starts with a 1, which is great, meaning, do I have to do all that work to make a 4-step problem? No. What's going to start my parentheses? X's. You need factors of what, folks? Factors of 9 that add to 6. 3 times 3. If I am adding, does that mean same or different symbols? Same, and they both need to be plus. Now, folks, do you see how the x plus 3 is there twice? I want you to realize that you could write it like this because you know that squaring something means writing it twice, correct? So both of these answers would be acceptable. Everybody A-okay with that? Yeah? Okay. Let's move over to number 9 over there in the corner. Do you have a GCF? Ooh, I think there is a GCF. What can I divide out of all of those? I cannot divide 18 by 4. It's a decimal. I can't divide by 8. 18 doesn't divide by 8, but 2 I can divide by. So let's go ahead and divide by 2. The 2's out front. What's left? Then what? Okay. Now, it's a good thing to take out GCFs, folks, because it makes your numbers smaller, easier to work with. So how many terms do you have inside of there now? 3, which means I need to drop down this 2 and make two binomials. Unfortunately, it does not start with a 1, but you know you're going to multiply your first and last terms, and it gives you what? You need factors of 36 that will add to 12. 6 times 6 will add to 12. Symbols same or different? Same, and they will both be addition. So now I'm ready to make my 4-term problem. What will it be? Okay. Oh, not the 8. Yeah, remember we divided that 2 out, didn't we, folks? So we're not going back to the 8 all the way up top. We're going to the 4. Okay, group them up. What can you take out of the first group? Divide by 3y, which means it goes out front. What's left? Then we're going to start with a plus sign. What can you divide out of the second group? So that 2 goes out front. What's left? And they match. So my repeated factor is 3y plus 2. What's my leftover factor? So notice this happened again, folks. This is a correct answer, but you could also write it as 2 times 3y plus 2 squared. Is that making sense to you? Sure? Positive? Okay, let's go down to the next row. Let's look at number 10. I really like number 10. There's a 1 out front, isn't there? And is there a GCF at all? How many terms are up there? So I can just go straight to doing this. Do you need to make this into a 4-term problem? No. What am I going to start these parentheses with? Use. And you need factors of 12 that subtract to 1. 4 times 3. If we are subtracting, does that mean same or different? Different. And the bigger one needs to be plus. What do we think? Pretty good? Yeah? Okay. Let's go to number 11. Is there a GCF? No GCF in number 11. How many terms? So you know what to make. Do I need to write a 4-term problem? Yes. Multiply your first, what's in front of this Q? And last terms, what do you get? You get 8. You need factors of 8 that will add to 9. 8 and 1. If I am adding, does that mean same or different? And they both need to be. Okay, so now I'm ready to write a 4-term problem. What will it be? Now I don't think it should be plus 8. And what else goes on there besides a P? Hold on. What else needs to go on there besides a P? PQ. Does everybody see why it's PQ? And then what? PQ. And then what are we dropping down on the end? Plus Q squared. Good. All right, group them up. What can you take out of the first group? An 8 and a P. What's left? Then, plus or minus? Minus Q. Everybody doing okay? Parentheses starts with a negative, so I'm going to start with a negative. What can I take out of those? I can take a Q out of both of those, can I? And because I started with a negative, I'm actually dividing out a negative Q squared. Or I'm sorry, just a negative Q, no squared. All right, what's left? Negative. Oh, a negative divided by a negative is a positive P. Okay. Minus that Q. How are we doing with the dividing by a negative? Just fine? Okay, so repeated factor is P minus Q. Left over is 8P minus Q. Folks, how would you check this to see if you're correct? You can't tell me plug it in because there's nothing to plug in. You would chop it in half and work it out and see if it actually equals what it's supposed to. Good? All right, let's do one more. We're going to do number 12 there. What's up with number 12? It's in the wrong order, right? So what are you going to rewrite this as? Okay. Oh. Yep. I think it should be a plus 50 because that 50 is positive, right? Okay, folks, now do you have a GCF? Ooh, I think we have a GCF. That's a 4Z. What can I divide out of both of those? Or all of them? A 2, right? So I'm going to divide all these by 2. Pull the 2 out front. What would be left? Again, taking out a GCF is good because it makes your numbers smaller. How many terms are in there? 3, so we're going to drop down this 2 and make 2 binomials. Does it start with a 1? It doesn't. So we need to multiply our first and last terms, which gives you what? You need factors of 50 that will add to 15. What's that? 10 times 5. And they will both have to be negative. All right, do I need to make a 4-term problem? Yes, I do, right? So what will it be? Group them up. What can you take out of the first group? And okay. Good. Start with a negative. Yep. So we're going to be dividing by -5 here, folks. What's left? Good. So your repeated factor is z minus 5, and your leftover factor is 2z minus 5. So how are we feeling about this, folks? Just fine? Are you sure? Okay, so how many problems are left? 4 problems? Okay, I would like for you, on your own, to complete numbers. Let's have you do number 4. Everybody good with that? And I would like you to also complete number 6, please. So you do 4 and 6. When you're done, I want you to bring them up to me, and I will then check them and then tell you what your homework is as you get finished.